Good morning, ultimate hustlers and digital empire builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today I got a very special guest. Nathan Bynum is here to talk about how to turn your website into a cash machine. It is about to go down, ladies and gentlemen. This is not an episode that you can afford to miss. If you have a website, you want to know how to optimize that thing and get traffic there. But more important than getting eyeballs there, you want to get eyeballs there that's interested in pulling out their credit cards and buying from you. So do me a huge favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, ladies and gentlemen, and go ahead. For the first time ever, I'm going to allow you to post links as well. So drop the link to your website, because maybe we can get Nathan to audit your site to see if there's any improvements you can make to turn that thing into a cash machine. So let us know where you're tuning in from, the name of your business and or your brand. Smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen, and let's kick it. Yo, what's up, ultimate hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities, and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally, or I've learned from, or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, from digitalempiresystem.com right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Listen, if you are a business owner and you do not have a website that is capturing leads, converting those leads into sales on autopilot with the ability to instant message and do all of the things that's required to nurture your leads, then you need to go check out digitalempiresystem.com and check out a free demo right there on the homepage. I promise you, you will not want to miss today's episode where we're talking with Nathan Bynum about turning your website into a cash machine. So do me a favor, comment in the chat where you're tuning in from. And if you have a website, go ahead and put the link to your website in the comments. I know y'all used to be saying no links, but today is a special occasion. So put the link to your website in the comments, because this is going to be a monumental show. Before we get into all of the goods, you guys know I got a couple of quick announcements for you. The new show, Black Biz Success, is coming to Roku January 5th, 2022. I'm super excited about that. And if you want to sponsor or become a show partner, then I need you to inbox me like ASAP. I got a few spots left. And these sponsorship opportunities are particularly beneficial to those who have services for businesses, right? If you sell to customers, may not be the best marketing opportunity for you, but if you have a business to business platform, then yeah, this is the show that you want, because it's all about helping Black businesses grow, thrive, and scale. So if you have a product or services that can help in that area, you might want to be marketing on our network. Shout out to my girl JP, CEO from Unheard TV. Also, if you're in the St. Louis area, I'm looking to work with some nonprofits and other volunteer opportunities. I want 10 volunteer opportunities this holiday season. So tag your boy in some good volunteer opportunities. Also, if you know a nonprofit or a church that needs digital marketing services, I'm not just volunteering my time, I'm also volunteering my skill set and my team to help nonprofits and churches get their messages out this holiday season. So make sure you connect me with any nonprofit leaders or church community leaders who got something going on and they need help with their marketing. I'll see what I can do for them. And then last but not least, Black Friday is coming early. If you are an author or course creator, and you don't have a system to sell your book outside of Amazon or wherever your book is living, then I got a very, very special offer for you. We would literally build your automated sales machine for you at a deep, deep, deep discount in honor of Black Friday this month. So you want to inbox me and let's get on the calendar and book a demo. I'll show you what our system can do and how we can help you turn your book sales into course sales, into high ticket sales. And if you don't have any of those things in place, then we can help you with that as well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest today. He's a best-selling author. He knows everything that is needed to know about monetizing your website and turning your website into a cash machine. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some of you guys and present to others my good buddy, Mr. Nathan Bynum. Good morning, Nathan. How you doing, brother?
Good morning, Cortez. Good. How are you doing?
I am doing extremely well and excited to have this conversation because we are in what I call the early stages of a digital land grab, right? It's kind of like if we knew that the Las Vegas Strip was going to be the Las Vegas Strip when it was nothing but desert, how much of that land would you have acquired way back when, right? That's where we are right now in this digital age. And I'm excited to have this conversation with you. But before we do, Nathan, I start every show with a quote of the day. So the quote of the day is where I'm going to share a quick quote. If you have a favorite quote, you can share yours, or you can just chime in your thoughts on this one. But today's quote is, the moment you stop fighting for what you do want, what you don't want automatically takes over. From the great Les Brown. The moment you stop fighting for what you do want, what you don't want automatically takes over. So you can either chime in on that one or share one of your favorite quotes. And if you have a favorite quote out there as you're listening to us live, go ahead and comment your favorite quote in the comments. So you got a favorite quote, or you want to chime in on that one?
I'll chime in on that real quick. Just a brief comment, and then I can share my quote. But on that, I really like that because you're always going to have stuff inside of you. There's always going to be like this void if you don't replace it with something good. And so that stands out to me because it's kind of like the biblical principle too, with that, with the filling in with something. But if you have something inside of you that you're trying to get out, then you're going to want to replace that with something else. And so that, I really like that quote.
Love it, love it, love it. And go ahead and share yours.
And mine, I have this on my wall, actually. It's smart, small choices plus consistency plus time equals radical difference. And I believe that was Darren Hardy from the Compound Effect. And
gotcha. I love that. I was smart, small choices plus consistency plus time equals radical change or transformation.
Radical difference, yeah.
Radical difference, man. I love that. That is very powerful. And I think we often overlook the impact of small, steady, incremental changes. It's like the one that says if you improve by 1% every day over the course of the year, you've grown by 365%, right? We kind of discount those. But Nathan, I ask every guest that comes on the show this very question. So I'm going to ask it to you, my friend. Who the heck are you?
So I guess what we're interested in here is the entrepreneurial journey. So I guess my entrepreneurial mindset kind of started when kind of young, when I was 6 years old. We had just moved over to Hungary, Budapest,
Mhm,
and we downloaded this widget on our family desktop, and it showed the exchange rates from like Hungarian forints to US dollars to Bulgarian stutinki and so on.
mhm.
And I would look at that every day and memorize those numbers. And then every morning I would look at it and think like, man, if I had just traded this much money and then traded this much the next day, then this is how much money I would have made. And it's just like, I was like, man, there's a lot of opportunity there. But I
Mhm.
didn't really have any money at the time for 6 years old, but I kept just kind of practicing and looking for those opportunities. And then in the fourth grade, I started selling gum to people on the playground, and I kind of understood the psychology of the supply and demand. I would like chew it in front of people, and that would drive up the demand for it. And then a little bit later, closer to now, it was probably 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I started selling things on eBay, and then I
Mhm,
figured out how to do that a little bit easier without having inventory by drop shipping from different companies. And then for a little while in college, I had a website called Treasures of Our Nation, and that's where I found local artisans around here in Florida
mhm,
that sold goods just locally, and they didn't have a website presence, and so I created one for all of them, like from farmers markets that I met and different local shops, and sold those
mhm,
on there. But then school kind of took priority and kind of got in the way, and so then later brings us to last year. I wrote my book on goal setting, and
mhm,
then started selling that. But then I wanted to be able to help people like one on one and help more people that way. Just to because that's kind of how I've always been in life, wanting to like see that difference, see that change. And so I started honing in on entrepreneurs and their goals through helping them create websites, because I worked for the city for helping them on their website for a little while. So, and then I created different websites myself. So I had
mhm.
that experience, and I wanted to combine that with the lessons that I'd learned from goal setting and helping through that way. So
Gotcha.
I started doing that, and after a while, I saw how well like the affiliate stuff was doing through the course, because the things that I was recommending that I use whenever I build websites for people or whenever I built them myself, those were the affiliate commissions that I was bringing in. And so I decided that people don't just want to build a website and leave it out there in space. So I was helping
Mhm.
kind of show them specifically affiliate marketing and implementing that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. What took your family to Hungary?
Oh, my dad is a missionary, so we lived all over the place whenever I was growing up.
Okay, man, what was that experience like? So, kind of world traveled as a young man. I'm interested to know the way that shaped your perspective, because if we only see the world through being U.S. citizens, I would imagine you have a quite different perspective. And how has that shaped your upbringing?
Yeah, so the whenever we're living over there, whenever we're moving different places, it was interesting to kind of see like the way that people looked at different things, the way that people value different things in their life. And a lot of the things over there is like just seeing how important like different the family time is, and the
Mhm,
like the meals especially. A lot of times like over here, I know it's not the same way for everybody, but a lot of times like people will just like sit in front of the TV and eat their supper or eat the lunch or whatever. But like over there, it's always together. It's always like a big meal and
Mhm.
just like kind of breaking that bread together. And just, well, this is a little bit different, but whenever I was 7, around 6 or 7, we moved back from the Czech Republic to Mississippi, and
Mhm.
I asked my mom where the castle was because I was so used to every city having a castle there. So it was just a little bit different in the mindsets, but also in kind of the culture where we lived up, the environment and everything.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's amazing, missionary dad, and moving around like that when you were young. Do you still have any ties, any friends that you met in some of those places?
Yeah, I have a couple actually. One of them is his name is Jakub, and he started a like kind of the TikTok of the Czech Republic.
Oh,
And
wow.
then another one is Honza Novak, and I get to FaceTime him a lot. And
Hmm.
he's it's always good to have those memories back then because that's really when I was growing up. So I'm glad to be able to still connect with them through
Yeah,
the digital means.
gotcha, gotcha. And as a kid of a missionary traveling, spreading the good news, uh, where do you think the entrepreneurial side comes from? Because I don't get entrepreneur and missionary. Uh,
Yeah.
what do you think? Did you have any other entrepreneurs in the family that lit that spark, or where do you think that came from?
Um, really no entrepreneurs in the family. There was I haven't ever shared this on a podcast before, but whenever I was younger, there was this it was a army Jeep that I really wanted,
Hmm.
and it was $35, and my dad didn't want to just spend $35 on a toy, which I completely understand now because
Right.
you just and so I like figured out all these ways to like make money so that I could get that. And then I just kind of enjoyed that ever since and then started looking for different ways to kind of make something out of nothing. And so
Mhm.
I think that's kind of what sparked it and what really started me on that journey.
Gotcha. So a desire for something, and you like, hey, Dad said no. I took my first no, and I got to figure something else out. And you kept moving and kept pushing forward. I think that's amazing. I think that's a huge lesson to be learned. That even at a young age, your desire said, "I'm not going to quit." Okay, you're not going to give me the money. I'm going to figure out another way. And I think I was listening to a podcast, and I don't know if you're familiar with the Earn Your Leisure podcast, but they interviewed Shaquille O'Neal, and he talked about how his kids were a little upset with him because he tells them all the time, "We ain't rich. I'm rich." And I think he's trying to instill in that. Of course, that mentality brings up a lot of mixed feelings and emotions. Well, are you going to make your kids struggle when you guys obviously got the means or not? And a lot of people were talking about whether or not he should give his kids everything that he need, and that brings up a conversation about work ethic and being spoiled and all of that kind of stuff. So I get the sense that you were not spoiled, which you were taught to be disciplined to work for what you want, and that's huge lesson that a lot of us don't seem to learn these days. That and from the religious background, you can relate that discipline that being spoiled is not about what you give your kids, it's what you don't give your kids. It's the absence of discipline that spoils a kid, right? Any thoughts on that?
No, I completely agree. And even in more of a secular way, like the way that our mindset is shaped, like through our youth and through the lessons that we're taught or not taught, has a huge impact on the way we view the world later on. Like it's you, if you think that the world owes you something, then you're not going to work hard. You're not going to hustle. You're not going to grind. You're not going to just like keep going. You're going to just expect things to happen for you whenever
Yeah.
they don't, then you don't have that background of thinking, okay, well, I just need to work harder. I need to figure out ways to get to that goal. I need to figure out what I'm going to do instead of just like sitting back and pouting. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's big.
Love it, love it. Now everything is figure outable, right? That's a new word coined by
Yeah.
the court. Everything is figure outable. You can figure things out if you want something bad enough and you're willing to work hard enough for it. You can figure it out. So, Nathan, we're going to get into your story about how you came up with the book for goal setting, and definitely want to help these people turn their websites into cash machines. But right now, we enter a part of the show called 1 Minute Motivation. I'm a huge fan of motivation and inspiration type things. So I listen to these types of videos during my workouts and during my downtime. I'm always trying to put good stuff in because I want good stuff to come out, right? Especially during tough times. So this is where we play a short motivational video, about 60 to 90 seconds. And I just ask you to come up with a takeaway. I'll give a takeaway. And those of you who are listening live, I want you guys to listen closely and comment one of your biggest takeaways as well as we get into 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
It didn't start out particularly well, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And so for me, that mindset of just not wanting to quit, not wanting to succumb to just the ebbs and flow of the game, and disappointment, having short-term memory. Nobody's perfect. You're going to have those days. Some days you're going to have it, some days you're not. And it's the great ones that look beyond that mistake and just have short-term memory and go to the next play as if the bad play just didn't happen. You have your average, you have your good, and you have your great. And so there's a little small percentage and a window of athletes that really go beyond the stratosphere of just being just good and allowing just your athletic ability and talent take you to where you want to. It's a relentless pursuit of greatness.
He's put up Hall of Fame numbers. He's a Hall of Fame football player.
Right in the middle of the star.
Hoo-wee. I don't know about you, Nathan. It don't take much to get me fired up, man. I love success. I love seeing other people win, and I love rooting for other people. I was so excited to learn that T.O. had finally entered into the Hall of Fame after being one of the top producers, and his character kind of kept him out a little bit, but he said it had some good things. One of the things that I love about this particular segment is because we all just listened to the same clip, but we all heard something different. So what did you hear?
Well, first off, I just want to go run 50 miles after that. But it's I think that is one of the biggest points, is to just keep going and to make those mistakes. We're all going to make those mistakes. We're all going to keep trying, and we're all going to just like you're saying, it's figure outable. But in another perspective, it's just yeah, they have that raw talent. They have all those abilities already. And a lot of people will just rely on those and coast through life because it's a lot easier, because they're well, I'm good at this already. So why do I have to work hard if I can just coast and be above average in these areas? But it's what sets them apart is just that constant longing to be better, that constant longing to make something and to give back. Because if you're just coasting through life, you're not able to give back to anybody, because all your efforts are going into making it as easy as possible for you. So that's kind of what I was hearing through that.
Yeah, I love it. Relentless pursuit of greatness. So many people, like you said, will get to a certain place. Another thing I wrote down, good is the enemy of great, right? When we get to a place where we're good, it is very easy to become complacent, right? And especially some of those guys. Now, T.O. worked extremely hard, but like you said, that frame God gave him, right? LeBron James worked really hard, but 6'8", 250, God gave him a solid foundation to start from, right? Right. So they had some competitive advantages there, but they took it a step further and were willing to work hard at their craft to become great. And I think sometimes we, even on our jobs and our careers, we get to a place where we are lulled to sleep by being just a little bit better than everybody else. But what most people don't realize is that our society has come to a place where we celebrate below average and average. So when you are a little bit better than everybody else, you're thinking you're good. No, you're just a little bit better than the people who are below average. So that just puts you at average. Right? So we got to be careful with that. Life is going to have those ebbs and flows. You got to have a short-term memory. Fall down 7 times, get up 8, and keep it pushing. So that was 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Nathan Bynum version. Make sure you click on the link in the description and in the bio to learn more about what Nathan's got going on. All of his offers are right there on his website. So I put that link in the comments and in the show notes. So moved around, child of a missionary, and started your entrepreneurial journey from a passion and a desire to want something that your dad wasn't willing to just fork over $35 to buy for you. So you started that grind early and figuring some things out. You talked a little bit about some of those first endeavors that you had as an entrepreneur. So before we get to your book on goal selling and helping people with their website Cash Machine, what were some of the stumbles that you made early on when you were trying to figure out this entrepreneurship thing?
Well, the first thing that kind of set me back was just trying to figure out everything perfectly before I got started, and thinking that like I needed to have this complete roadmap. But once I kind of got over that, it still took a while to initially figure it out, because I was looking for like the perfect way to do everything still once I even got started. And so I was listening to like probably too many YouTube videos, too many books that I was reading. Like those all have their place, but it's while you're doing the things. And so I think that that was the initial stumbling block. But then after that, it took a while to figure out, like, because I didn't have any background at the time in websites, was just like all the different hosting services, the different themes, like, and then I was trying to make it look as professional as people who had been in business for like decades. And so then I was like comparing myself to them. And so I guess it was just like having that understanding, and that also that confidence that I would be able to do what I was pursuing and make a difference in whatever people's lives, and provide a service that was unique, because there's a lot of things out there. But at the time I didn't realize that like we all have that unique angle, that extra thing that we can do. So those are the things that were kind of holding me back when I was starting.
Gotcha. And great advice, man. Because listen, I want you guys to write this in the comments. Perfectionism is just a bougie way to say procrastination. That's all it is. People will say, I can't start, I can't launch because it's got to be perfect. No, that's just another fancy way of saying you're just procrastinating. That's all it is. You will never know. It's kind of like, since we're talking about sports and athletes after the TO clip, it's kind of like me trying to become a championship basketball player by watching and reading books on it and never playing the game. If you know anything about success or pursuing any worthwhile goal, you know that you're going to have to read the minute you go from reading and studying to actually doing the thing. You have to recalibrate everything that you learn, right? You can read a book about shooting a basketball, but the minute you go on a court and shoot it for the first time, everything that you read in that book has to be recalibrated, right? So I'm glad that you were able to eventually overcome that and just start, right? Because that's the way I find myself is my wife orders this stuff from Amazon and some of the stuff that needs to be put together from all of these different places. So I often start putting the stuff together, then read the instructions, right? And I found that works better for me because once I've started, I'm invested and I can't stop until it's done. So a lot of people just need to go ahead and get started. So you went through the eBay phase, you went through the drop shipping phase, and then you turned into service based, right? So, what was the transition from product based to service based?
Yeah, so the kind of the transition was the writing of that book, and
Mhm.
because the book was the product, but then whenever I went from the well, it kind of was, but it kind of like in a way it's not because like the products were something that were just like useful to people, but they weren't having this like impact that I felt like I know they do have impacts in their lives, but I wanted
Mhm.
to kind of figure out a way to um, have a lot of the knowledge that I've gotten from different people who I've interviewed in different ways, and also the books that I've read and kind of implement that to serve other people through that knowledge. And then from that, I went into, I guess, what would be more technically the service base is just like actually helping people like with their website and figuring out the goal of that
Mhm.
website, not just to like create something and just hope that something happens, but to kind of have more of a long-term view on that. So I went started with just like some friends and just like helping them, and that way I got more comfortable with like the whole process and kind of
Mhm.
understanding like the mindset that would be needed to be in that kind of service area.
Gotcha, gotcha. And the book, man, is done remarkably well. For those of you who don't know, you probably can tell he's got the baby face. Nathan is relatively young, 25,
Yeah,
26, 25.
25.
He's already a best-selling author, has been featured on all of the national news and publication outlets. Um, and talk to us about the goal setting book and the process. And what do you think the number one challenge people have with achieving goals?
I think the number one is just like not having those clear goals in their mind to begin
Mhm.
with.
Yeah.
And I think that is so overlooked and probably kind of scoffed at because of that kind of woo woo feeling that some people get from like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich and
Mhm.
just like the visualizing and it appearing. But that it has a lot of merit to it scientifically because I didn't really believe it a whole lot whenever I first read that. Like I was like, well, I mean, he is successful and he's interviewed successful people, but I don't know, is that causation, correlation, all that?
Mhm.
And so then I started taking this course on kind of goal setting, and I started realizing what all that went into, like with the mind. And
Mhm.
so it's the reticular activating system is, for example, if you get a new car, then you
Mhm.
start seeing that car everywhere because your subconscious mind is telling your conscious mind that that is something that is important to you.
Mhm.
And or if that doesn't happen, then if you're in a conversation and you don't have a good comeback at that time, but then like later on you're just like sitting around or you're taking a shower and you're like, oh man, I should have said that, which
Right.
you probably shouldn't have, but it would have been good for the time. Um, that's our reticular activating system. And whenever we do visualize and whenever we have a very vivid goal, a very specific goal,
Mhm.
then our subconscious mind is commanded in that reticular activating system to start bringing those opportunities to us, to our mind. Like it doesn't create those on its own, but it notices them a lot more,
Mhm.
and you're a lot more likely to take those next steps. You're a lot more likely to take those opportunities that will get you closer to that goal because of that visualization. So I think that is the number one thing.
That people just don't have them, or they're not clearly defined.
Mhm.
I love that. So for those of us who have clearly defined, Nathan, that our goal is to have our website make us some money, right? So how do we get to the place where if we do have our websites and Michelle said, woo, that is so true and interesting. You are absolutely right, Michelle. That RAS filter is something else. But that's how you literally bend the universe to your will, right? It's that people don't understand. You literally move the universe when you have clear, definite purpose and aim. So we're aiming at, okay, I got this website and I followed Nathan's advice. I did not hold myself back and try to make it perfect, but I made it. It's up, it's done. But it's not making me any money, Nathan. So what do I do now?
The first thing that you have to do is to make sure that it's specific enough and honed in enough, kind of like we were talking about earlier about that uniqueness. And if you like to, that's kind of broad, like everybody's like niche down, whatever. But
Mhm.
really, what you want to do is look for problems in that area that you are either an expert in, or you are somebody that like loves learning about something, because it's going to be a learning process like the whole time. You're
Mhm.
never going to want to get comfortable, or something that like people come to you for advice about, like something specific. You probably hopefully have that in mind whenever you're building that website. But if you don't, you want to still get more specific. You want to get into like some Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups, or groups that are about that general niche. And
Mhm.
then you want to get into those, start offering them advice, start helping, be helpful to them, and look for underlying problems or tools that you see that would help them with whatever that common problem is. Then
Mhm.
you can look into even books on the same subject. You can look into the reviews that people leave, that what do they like about this solution, because every product is a solution. What do they enjoy about that? But then
Mhm.
even more importantly, the negative reviews, like what did they leave out? Because that is where you can start getting specific into that unique value proposition. You're able to look at all those problems and find like three, and then pick out whichever one is the top one that you'll be the most interested in pursuing. So
Yeah.
you have that problem, you have that that need, and then once you have that, it's going to be a lot easier to find that audience in different areas to finally monetize that with building that audience. And
Gotcha. So before you go any further, let's just kind of recap, because I know you're about to go in. So you're saying that even if I have a website today and I do a few different things well, it's better for me to focus on one solution and make that the primary focal point. And I can find that by doing a little research. I can go into Facebook groups and different communities. I can do surveys and polls on my own Facebook pages. I can look at Amazon books and reviews. I can look at influencers and see what are the positive things people are saying, what are the negative things that people are saying, because entrepreneurship in its truest sense, or it's just, as entrepreneurs, we just get paid to solve problems. The bigger the problem you solve, the more you get paid, right?
yeah,
So a good entrepreneur gets paid, is a good problem solver, but a great entrepreneur is a problem hunter. So you're saying before you really go down the monetization side, let's start hunting for some problems that you either currently have the solution for, or you're willing to put in the time, energy, and effort to develop or find the solution for. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
Love
think
it.
it's important to start with one instead of just like spreading yourself too thin, but then eventually you can go into more solutions like you're talking about.
Gotcha. So we honed down, we found a couple books on the subject, and we saw that, hey, everybody said this great thing about these books, but the one thing that was in common with these books, all of the negative reviews said the same thing, that all of them was missing this one thing. So that's an indication that if I deliver this one thing, I could be well on my way. So talk about the building of the community or your fan base or your followers around that particular solution that you have.
Yeah, so once you have that solution that you're wanting to provide for other people, I think the biggest thing to do is to look for kind of some partnership opportunities with people who have that audience that you're looking for, but are serving them in a different way. So you're not fighting for the competition. And
Mm,
and so I think that like some of the ways that you can do that are like writing a blog post, like a guest post on people's websites, and then having like that lead magnet that comes back to your website, and having that some some ways that you can do that also are kind of like this, like podcasts and people
mhm.
who are aligned with your values, because that's important,
Yeah.
aligned with who you're trying to serve, but then providing a value that is more specific to what you do in general. And
Mhm.
then that's a win-win-win, because the podcaster is getting that value, but then also you're getting that value because you're able to have that exposure to a new audience, and
Mhm.
then the audience is getting that value because they're able to see like a different perspective and a different take on whatever that solution is.
Gotcha. So I heard, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Myron Golden. He wrote the book From the Trash Man to the Cash Man. And he's an amazing sales coach. I mean, he closes millions of dollars from stage every year. But he spoke a little bit about what you're hinting at, is that we are no longer in the age of information. We're in the age of partnership. And a lot of people don't even realize what that means. But if you think about a social media platform, for instance, we are all partners with Facebook. I'm Facebook's partner right now because we're streaming live on Facebook. So I partnered with Facebook to bring Facebook content. Facebook now is going to aggregate the data derived from this content and then turn around and sell it to their advertisers. If I provide good enough content, Facebook is going to reward me by showing my content to more and more of the people on its platform. That's a partnership that most people never even realize. But now you're saying, I can strategically partner with someone who is already serving the audience that I have. But instead of me bringing to the table a competing product or a solution, I should bring a complementary product or solution. That way, the partnership creates a win-win-win for everybody else. So we figured out through our research, Nathan, that I'm good at this. There's a lot of people doing something similar, but all of them seem to be missing this one element that I've happened to master. So, bam, I found my way in. Now I'm looking at building a community around me. So, I'm looking at what Russell Brunson would call my Dream 100, who's already serving the people that I want to serve, and I'm connecting with them. You talked about a lead magnet. Explain to everybody what a lead magnet is and what is a good lead magnet.
Yeah, so just as everything else in entrepreneurship and business, it's value first. And so what a lead magnet is you're providing a solution. usually a smaller solution, a smaller win for people to have either like cut down on time for them,
Mhm.
like having to research everything themselves, or to kind of cut down on like just reading through a bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
And it's either there's a lot of options for it, but it's usually like a list of different things for like the top whatever, like the
Mhm.
one I do is like the top affiliate um, affiliate websites that I've experienced with,
Mhm.
and it's usually a list that people will opt in for, or a lot of popular ones today are small ebooks that
Mhm.
people give away for free, or just like small mini courses that they give away for free. And people will go to your website, to your landing page, and then they'll type in their email address. And so that's how you deliver it to them, is through the email. And then you're able to like then have that relationship with those people by communicating with them through
Mhm.
that same median, and they're able to come away with a win, and that helps them to kind of build that relationship with you and associate you with positive feelings because you provided them that solution to whatever their problem was. And
Mhm.
then you're able to keep in communication with them to keep building that relationship and giving them more value.
Yeah, I love that approach. I've also heard Myron say the best way to prove to someone that you can help them is to actually help them. Uh, and a lot of times people are putting that help on the other side of a pay gate. Well, sometimes you have to prove and show people that you can help them on the front end by leading with value, giving them something of value so that you can then build that relationship. Because I don't care what you sell, Nathan, and what service, what product you have. I think more people need to understand this, is that every business is a relationship business. And when you can start building or get better at building relationships, then you can start building better businesses. And a la Gary Vaynerchuk, every business should see itself as a media company first, slash whatever else they do, because media is everything. So, what are some things that you can speak to the audience today about when it comes to media and leveraging these platforms and building brands and things of that nature?
Yeah, so kind of like the solution thing, I would say just initially to pick one and get really good at that. And whether it's like on Facebook or on Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, get comfortable with that because people are on different platforms, different media outlets to experience different things. Because
Hmm.
on like Instagram, it's usually for kind of visual effects and then like seeing different friends, like seeing what they're up to, or following like different influencers that they're interested in. And then Facebook is more like of a connecting, but then there's also those groups built in there that
Hmm.
they enjoy being a part of because they're able to talk to people and to see different people who are kind of going through the same things that they're going through. And
Yeah.
then LinkedIn is more of like a professional thing to where you're basically just focused on business and figuring out what is happening new in your area of work or finding new connections. And so focusing in on one off the bat and getting good at that and getting good at that communication style and that posting style and
Hmm.
figuring out that audience first and building a strong relationship with that audience. I think that's one mistake that I've seen a lot of people make is just they like make um, a lot of social medias and they just like kind of throw things out there. And some
Hmm.
people are good at it, just like
Yeah.
that's they're natural at it. But a lot of people, it kind of stifles their growth.
Yeah, I think you do definitely have to consider the context of each platform and what the platform wants, right? Facebook wants something different from its content creators, and so does LinkedIn. So that's a powerful message there. And again, in spreading yourself too thin, I don't think people realize that you can build an entire empire with just one social media platform. It doesn't, you don't have to be on all of them to build a strong passive and residual revenue stream. I built my initial revenue stream and recurring and passive nature on Facebook alone. So do I have a presence on some other profiles or platforms? Yeah, but I do most of my work on the one that I'm most comfortable with, the one I've mastered. And then as I develop a team, we'll start going into some of those other avenues and some of those other areas. And that's critically important. Master one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Don't try to master them all, because it's not going to work. You can't take the same content you put on Facebook and put on Instagram. It doesn't work like that. It has to be native to the context of that particular platform. Well, Nathan, my friend, we are now at my second favorite part of the show, segment that we call freestyle. Because I know you got bars, bro. You 25, you all up in the hip hop scene. You got to have some bars, brother. But no, I'm not going to put on a beat with some heavy bass and ask you to rhyme words. Freestyle on the Cortez Hustle Show is just about you taking 2 minutes and kind of either reiterating something that you feel is really important that people need to really consider when it comes to goal setting or making money from their website, or as I'm building this media empire that will one day pass Ted Turner and Walt Disney, I don't always ask the right questions, and the conversation doesn't always evolve to where we want it. So you can take this time to speak on something that we haven't touched on that you think is really important as well. So this is freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Nathan Bynum version. With your best verse, bro.
Yeah, so one thing that popped in my head back when we were talking about the perfectionism is it's an analogy that I like to use kind of about whenever you plug something in to your GPS that you want to go to, whether that's monetizing your website or whatever goal they're trying to get to, you don't have that rerouting situation. Like, you have to drive around first before you can correct, before like the Apple Maps like tells you which way to go. You don't know the first steps, and you don't know how exactly it's gonna go before you get that momentum, before you start trying different things, before you start failing at different things. Because I know people hate failing because it hurts their pride, but you just need to understand that that's like part of the process before you understand how to get there. And I like the map analogy too, because there's not only one way. Like, you're gonna keep going, but there's a lot of ways if you just keep trying, if you just keep maneuvering, like right and left, straight. There's a lot of ways to get there if you just keep having that momentum, keep taking that extra step forward. So just getting started, and then just like understanding that it's not always going to be one path, but as long as you just keep working, there's a lot of ways to that different goal.
I love it. I love it. Get started and keep moving. So if you have a goal in mind, get started and keep moving towards that goal despite the obstacles, roadblocks. That was amazing. Drop mic right here. That is freestyle on the Cortez Hustle Show with Nathan Bynum. So real quick, bro, tell everybody, man, how they can reach you, how they can connect with you. Those who need your services, those who are especially in the artisan space, those who have not yet built their first website, how you can help them with that.
Yeah, so the kind of the lead magnet that I was talking about earlier is the affiliate list of 50 top affiliate programs if they want to kind of implement that to their website, and that's at lemonlaunch.com/affiliate list. And I wanted to do something kind of special for your audience, and the first 10 people who respond to this, either if they want to kind of have their website audited or to have a like advice on the top 3 affiliate programs that will align with them, then I'll do those top 10, the first 10 for free. If they just will email me at nathan@lemonlaunch.com.
Gotcha. So he's got a 50 best affiliate program. I'm going to drop that link in the comments for you guys. And if you would go out and email him and say, hey, man, I heard you on the Cortez Hustle Show. The first 10 people will get an audit of their website. And I got a sneaky suspicion that Nathan can literally look at your site and within 3 to 5 minutes tell you exactly what affiliate programs would be a good fit to go on your site. And he's already connected with those. So let me say, get Nathan's free resource. Here, boom. And he's going to tell you, here's a couple affiliate approaches that you should take based on the theme and what you are about, how this would fit, and we work right with your audience like instantaneously. So bro, this to me has been a wonder-filled conversation, man. Super excited that you were able to make time for us in your busy schedule to come hang out with us on the Cortez Hustle Show. Any parting words?
Just stay motivated. Watch some of those videos that you showed, because that pumps you up, and just like I said, just keep going, whether you think it's the wrong way or not. You're gonna figure it out a lot sooner if you just keep moving.
Yeah, decide on a destination, get started, keep moving, and I promise you that action will bend the universe to your will. And we talked about the RAS filter, the reticular activating system will start to bring things into your ocular view that says, oh, here's the way that you need to go. Here's a solution to help you with that problem. Here's how you're going to win in this area. But you got to have a destination. You got to get started, and you got to keep moving. So with that, we appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Until we talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it. Each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.